What's up everyone, my name is Alpha and today we're back with another Pokemon Challenge video. Today we're on Pokemon Radical Red 4.0 and today's challenge will be can I beat Pokemon Radical Red 4.0 hardcore mode using only fighting type Pokemon. So on our wheel today we got fighting type and we're still looking for that elusive water typing. I've also went through and I double checked. I was like, I didn't do rock. Why is rock not on the wheel? So for next week I'll update it for rock. So we still have 4 more monotypes to do after this one, so it's still going to be a long ways to go. But again, I think this one is going to be pretty easy since we have a very good roster of Pokemon to go with. If you guys don't know what we're doing though, we're playing on Pokemon Radical Red, which is one of the hardest ROM hack in the world right now, which is a ROM hack based out of Pokemon Fire Red, and it just makes the game just entirely harder. The NPCs are much harder, and we're playing on the hardest mode, which actually limits my ability to get certain Pokemon moves, certain Pokemon abilities, and give the NPCs all the advantages possible, even stack like advantages, which is unfair. And we'll get to that in a little bit, but essentially we're going to try to do that on top of a monotype challenge. So we can only use Pokemon of a certain monotype. This time around we have to be part fighting type. At least we have one fun role, which is going to be each of my Pokemon being nicknamed after you guys in the comments. So thanks so much for leaving a nickname in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after a future Pokemon, just drop in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while you're down there, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, let's get into the challenge itself. So to begin off, we wanted to use Combuskin for some reason since we used Monferno on a fire type video, and honestly I wish I used Monferno because Combuskin is just not it. It doesn't even have the priority Mach Punch, so kind of sucks. Anyways, we're gonna get Meditite and a bunch of fighting Pokemon to start off the game with, and then head into the forest where we're gonna clear through Brendan pretty easily, get ourselves the XP share, and also face off against this trainer as well to get the infinite repel just options for us, and also infinite sprint. Once we do that though, we're gonna head into all the way into Pewter City. Now unfortunately there is something for us to do here. We want to use the egg merchant as much as possible until we get ourselves a Cupfu. Now the only thing that's wrong with that is that Cupfu is one of the rarest encounters in the game, especially in egg merchants. I got 3 Cosmox on this little time frame, so I actually stopped. I decided to progress through the games, so I decided to go out and face off against Faulkner, which isn't too hard of a battle even though we only have fighting type Pokemon. He has a bunch of flying types, but we're able to get through him pretty easily, and then from there we can move on and face off against Brock, which is going to be the first gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against Brock using my Meditite to fake out into his Hippopotas, and then from there I'm able to go for a Force Palm and then paralyze the Hippopotas. He's going to switch out into his Lunatone eventually, and I'm just going to stack my Meditite, which actually doesn't go down to the Lunatone surprisingly, so I knock out the Lunatone with my Meditite. From there he's going to switch out and knock me out with a Cacturne, but I do have a Combuskin in the back, which will knock out the Cacnea. You know, Mach Punch would have been really good there, but unfortunately it doesn't, as his Arcan comes out and knocks me out. My next Pokemon will be my Machop, which will Rock Tomb and knock out the Arcan with the speed drop for us. And then from there his next Pokemon will be a Vroom. I Mach Punch to break the air balloon, which I don't think there's a purpose to that, as I go out to my Mankey, which will Karate Chop and knock out the Vroom for us, and also the Hippopotas. And his final Pokemon will be a Laleep, 2 Karate Chops on the Laleep, and then from there my Mienfoo will knock out the Laleep as we clear through Brock in a very easy span. We also have Regen as our ability, so that's pretty good. As from there we're going to go back to the egg merchant, and for the next 20 minutes I decided to go out and start hunting for the Cupfu again. Got 2 more Cosmox, and I was like, you know what, maybe it's not worth it. I decided to leave it for now and go into Mount Moon, clear through the scientists pretty easily, and then face up against Archer, where in this fight Archer actually almost destroyed us, but lucky enough we had a Breloom in the back with Mach Punch. See how Mach Punch comes out, and it's actually the best move in the game. So we clear through Archer and then go into Cerulean City, where we're going to evolve our Riolu into Lucario and also unlock the Mover Learner, and then move out into Nugget Bridge. We tried against Misty. It wasn't working out too well, so we decided to go out into Vermilion City, and from there we decided I really wanted this Cupfu. And you could technically get an Urshifu before the second gym in the game, which honestly would have been so funny to get, but I couldn't get it. I spent another 30 minutes looking for the Cupfu. My hand was cramping up because I was using the speed up button and it just wasn't working. I couldn't get the Cupfu, so I went back and faced off against Misty, the second gym leader in the game. We do have a Surfetch as we start the battle off with my Surfetch against the Politoed. From there I made a first impression and then Rock Smash into the Politoed. Eventually my Surfetch goes down as I go out to my Breloom. paralyze the Toxicroak and get it paralyzed as I go out to my Hariyama to bulldoze it, and it's still paralyzed. So that's funny for us. As he's gonna switch out into the Starmie, I catch it with a bulldoze and just gonna sack my Hariyama to low HP. So Starmie's at low HP. I go out to my Breloom to stun spore once again, catching the Mantine, which is huge. And then from there, I can switch out into my Lucario since Lucario could survive any move from it. Unfortunately, it goes for a Hurricane and I get confused. Lucky enough, I break through it and Rock Tomb into the Mantine. I don't want to hit myself in confusion, which might have been like, it was probably possible. I go out to my Mienshao and then I go for a Fake Out and catch the Clocksire, which is a accidental catch. From there, I Force Palm into him looking for a Paralyze. Does not get it, so that kind of sucks. So Mienshao goes down for no reason. Go out into my Primeape, which will bulldoze into the Clocksire twice to knock him out, and then his next one will be a Ludicolo. I have to sack my Primeape, and then I'm going to go out into my Breloom. Breloom's able to do some nice chip damage and get paralyzed on a Ludicolo, and then from there, I knock him out with the Force Palm. His next Pokemon will be a Starmie, which I Mach Punch. Don't get enough chip damage, but it's going to knock me out as I go out to my Lucario with also Mach Punch. Again, Mach Punch being the best move. Knock out the Starmie, Politoed, and also the Mantine with Rock Tomb. And her final Pokemon will be a Toxicroak, which looks like it's out of range of Bodos, but looking up, I get a nice roll. Knock out the Toxicroak as we beat down Misty. From there, we're going to move on into the SSN, and no Egg Merchant hunting for us for a little bit as we face off against the trainers in the SSN and also Brendan. Brendan's a pretty easy fight, nothing to worry about here. And then from there, we're going to move out and face off against Lieutenant Surge. Lieutenant Surge is going to be the third gym leader in the game as we're going to go out and start the battle off against him using my Mienshao. I really like Mienshao, so I'm going to start the battle off with a Fake Out and a Drain Punch to knock out the Rotom Frost. His next Pokemon is going to be a Alolan Raichu as sack. Yeah, it's going to sack my Mienshao, which sucks, but I got to go out into my Annihilate next, which will bulldoze into him. Lower his speed, but he does have a Surge Surfer, which is going to outspeed me anyways. He's going to knock me out as I go out into my Surf Edge, which will first impression and knock out the Raichu. The next one will be a Palnot, which I detect. Okay, just wasting turns here. Use knockoff on the Palnot as he knocks me out as I go out into my Blaziken, which will survive a Plasma Fist and knock him out with a Blaze Kick. From there, his next one will be a Hitmonlee, which would knock me out as I go out into my Hariyama. Hariyama is able to Fake Out and then Force Palm paralyze the Hitmonlee and then two-shot into him as he gets paralyzed again. A lot of paralysis. I didn't realize it happened this much. As I knock out the Hitmonlee, and his next one will be an Electrode. I assume it's going to be Explosion or Chloroplast, so I go out into my Lucario to tank it, so as a free hit. And then from there, he's going to switch out into his Mega Ampharos, which, I mean, it's pretty much free damage. I go for a Bulldoze into the Ampharos as I'm able to go out into my Hariyama. I'm able to Fake Out and Bulldoze twice into him to knock him out as we beat down Lieutenant Surge. Go out, and now we do some more Egg Merchant hunting, and at this point, I got sick of it. I was done with it. You know what? I don't want Cubfu. I wasted 2 hours of straight up just Egg Merchant hunting, and I couldn't get a Cubfu, so I just got a Quaxly, and then I moved on from there. So 2 hours, and I only got a Quaxly out of it. Sounds like profit to me. From there, we head into the Rock Tunnel, clear through the Rock Tunnel, face off against the Sunny Day trainer and also the Hisuian trainer. 2 easy fights. We also go back and get us some Bottle Caps, which we're gonna actually use to switch up our abilities. We're also going to get ourselves some new starter Pokemon, which we get ourselves Infernape, which is really... We also get ourselves a Hisuian Decidueye, which is very huge for us as well. From there, we're going to move on and face off against the 4th gym leader in the game. We're going to face off against Erica. We're going to start the battle off against Erica using my Hisuian Decidueye, which is going to go for a triple arrows and then go for another one. And then catch the Slowbro on accident as I go out to my Gallade. Gallade is going to get paralyzed by the Slowbro as I Night Slash into him twice to knock him out, which is huge. From there, he's going to switch out to a Mega Sceptile as he's going to sack my Gallade 2 as I go out into my Decidueye once again. Triple arrows into the Sceptile as he goes for Drago Barrage as I knock him out. Her next one will be a Hawlucha, which is going to knock out my Decidueye, but I do get some chip damage before I go out to my Annihilate. Annihilate is able to swagger into the Hawlucha, which was actually the biggest problem for me. And lucky enough, it hits itself in confusion. I go for a Rage Fist and knock him out in the same turn. Her next Pokemon will be a Kartana, which knocks out my Annihilate. I go out to my Conqueror, which will survive a Grassy Glide and then Mach Punch twice into him, which isn't doing a lot of damage. But you know what? It's cumulative. I go out to my Infernape, which will Mach Punch it again, and it's going to knock him out finally. And then her next Pokemon will be a Toxicity, which I go for Flame Wheel. 2 Flame Wheels would knock me down to low HP, which I go out to my Mienshao to clutch up. Actually, the Toxicity just knocks himself out. So I go out to my Mienshao to knock out the Cradily as we're able to beat down Erica. And then from there, we can move out and face off against Giovanni, which isn't too hard of a fight. We cleared through Giovanni pretty easily. And now we can move on into the Pokemon Tower, which we get ourselves the Pokeflute afterwards, which I don't know why there's so many important trainers to fight in here. It's so brutal. We also go out into the Silph Co. We face off against our rival which lucky enough he just knocks himself out as we face off against Argon and Archer with my Glade to clutch up and knock out the Houndoom, and face off against Giovanni with my Infernape, actually just demolishing everything because it has Mach Punch unlike Combuskin and Blaziken. So from there we can move out and face off against Chuck. And yeah, Chuck is not an easy fight. He destroyed me a lot. We even tried to like cheese him with Dire Claw. It was not working out well. So eventually when we do beat Chuck, we get ourselves a Focus Sash and also a Tauros for free. So we're gonna take the Water Tauros, and then from there we can move on and face off against Sabrina. Sabrina has infinite Trick Room. I forgot to mention all the advantages they have, but Sabrina has infinite Trick Room and infinite Misty Terrain, so have fun with that. So I start the battle off against her using my Quacks, my fully grown Paldean Duck, and also my Mienshao. Mienshao is able to detect as I'm able to go for an Agro, as I'm able to Agro into the camera with my full grown Quaxley, as the Tapu Phoenix can go for a Mystic Explosion to knock out everything else, so my Mienshao stays alive. Go out to my Toxicroak with Dry Skin, which is very important because I could go for a High Jump Kick on the Iron Hands and Sucker Punch into the Jellicent, as I'm able to regain some HP with my Mienshao. And then from there I can High Jump Kick once again into Iron Hands and Sucker Punch, hoping the Iron Hands actually knocks out my Toxicroak, which it does, and it works out for us. As from there the Iron Hands have 1 HP, I go out into my Decidueye. Decidueye is able to go for a Sucker Punch against the Iron Hands, and then my Mienshao is able to High Jump Kick into the Glacier, which is really good because the Glacier actually knocks out my Decidueye, so I actually knocked out everything else again. So Mienshao is still alive, as her final Pokemon will be a Magearna. I go for Detect against him, expecting it to attack my Mienshao, and I'm able to Blaze Kick into the Magearna, and then 2-shot into the Magearna with Blaze Kick as we beat down Sabrina with a very set strategy. From there we're going to face off against Cycling Road, which we cleared through pretty easily. You know, this Sidra is pretty sick. Fire Zone, which isn't too difficult. We're using Mega Galete now, which is a pretty good Pokemon overall. We also are forced to go back and face off against the first 3 gym leaders before we face off against Koga. So we're going to face off against Brock. You know what? Surprisingly, it was a struggle because Linus was actually just cooking me. So I decided to go back after beating Brock and catch myself some legendaries. So I caught myself a Cobalion, a Terrakion, and also Virizion. It was a pretty free Pokemon to have as we face off against Misty next. Misty's a pretty easy fight as Mega Galate just finished off the king, and again Mega Galate does a lot of damage. We also cleared through Lieutenant Surge pretty easily, as from there we're gonna move out and face off against Koga. Now normally I actually don't cheat. I don't think you guys would consider this cheating, but I do use a duplicate Pokemon. I use Sock twice because Sock has Sturdy, and it's not like I didn't try. I tried a lot against Koga, and the only thing I could think of that would actually solve my problem is to use Sock. 2 different Socks with Sturdy. So what we want to do is start the battle off against Koga, making sure that Tapu Lele actually miss Focus Blast. Sometimes it needs to miss it twice because Cobalion is not that strong. So I go for Iron Head. As long as the Tapu Lele misses twice, we can knock out the Tapu Lele, and then from there force out the Toxicity, which will G-Max, and then I can Metal Burst into him. As when I knock out the Toxicity, as his next Pokemon will be a Needle King, it's gonna knock out my Cobalion as I go out to my Mega Galade, survive any move from the Needle King as I'm able to Psycho Cut and knock him out. His next Pokemon will be a Hoopa Unbound. He's gonna knock on my Mega Galade as I go out to my Quaxley. I'm able to survive any move from him and U-turn into him to knock him out. And that, from there, I knock out everything pretty much hard. I go out to my Sock next, which if it goes out to his Crocodile, I just go out into my Tauros. But it goes out to his Shiyu. So that means I can survive any move against the Shiyu, go for a low sweep, and knock him down to low HP. Any other Pokemon I've used to face off against him is getting one-shot me. I needed another Pokemon with Sturdy. I just used Sock because that's the only thing that came in mind. So I knock out a Shiyu with my second Sock. So it's kind of cheating, but you know what? I gotta get through it, as his final Pokemon will be his Crocodile, which I go out to my Tauros. And Paldean Tauros is able to close combat and knock out the Crocodile. A bit of cheating, but you know what? Maybe we glance over it. It's just a Sock, you know. From there, we're gonna face off against Price next and get ourselves the Choice Scarf, which is really nice. We also go into Seafoam Cave, which is going to be, for some reason, Keldeo spawn here. So we get ourselves a Keldeo. We also go forwards and face off against Jasmine to get ourselves a Choice Band, which we actually use quite often. More than not, we're using Choice Bands now. We also go face off against May, which isn't too hard of a fight in front of Cinnabar Mansion. And we also face off against Galarian Zapdos. Catch yourselves a Zapdos, which is fighting and flying now. And we face off against the Mansion trainers down here, which isn't too difficult. We also go into Blaine's gym and face off against his gym trainers in here as well. We beat him down pretty easily as we face off against Blaine next. Blaine is going to be the 7th gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Hisuian Decidueye, which has been pretty consistent for us. So we're going to start the battle off using my Decidueye. We're going to High Jump Kick into him, which does a lot of damage. He goes for Earth Power twice. So I'm not sure why he didn't switch out, but I'm able to knock him out with High Jump Kick, as his next Pokemon will be a Great Tusk. I sack my Decidueye because it's not going to do too much. I go out to my Galarian Zapdos, which Gets Choice Scarf knocked out of him, so I mean that's a waste of an item, but I knock out the Great Tusk with my Zapdos. As from there, his next Pokemon will be a Ho-Oh, which I decided to sack my Zapdos, but to my Terrakion, which I mean, he already used up his Z move, so I made a Stone Edge for free, knock out the Ho-Oh. He's getting Revive in Phoenix mode, but I still knock him out because I outspeed him. Terrakion comes out clutch and knocks out the Ho-Oh for us, as the next Pokemon will be a Venusaur. I'm going to switch on to my Sneasler, surviving Weather Ball from the Venusaur and Gunk Shotting. Unfortunately, I do have Mach Punch, but I'm trapped in Choice Band, so I'm just going to sack my Sneasler and go out into my Lucario. Lucario is Mega Lucario now and get to Bullet Punch and knock out the Venusaur, and High Jump Kick into the Charizard X, which will force him to Flare Blitz and knock himself out, and his final Pokemon will be a Walking Wake, which I go on to my Cobalion and Metal Burst into him with my Focus Sash and knock him out. So we end up beating down Blaine, and yeah, securing the 7th gym badge in the game and also getting ourselves the choice specs as we move on and face off against Archer. And Archer isn't too hard of a fight. The second fight is actually the hardest one, so we cleared through Archer. Against Ariana, this fight is a lot harder because her Pokemon are surprisingly actually stronger than I thought. So we end up clearing through Ariana, which took a few attempts, and then from there we could face off against Giovanni. Giovanni isn't too difficult as we have a pretty good Pokemon. We just gotta clear through the Mewtwo, and then my Lucario can go crazy, kill everything else on the team, and we beat down Giovanni. Now we move on and face off against Claire. We'll start the battle off against Claire using my Terrakion. Rock Slide flinch into the Shuckle and then Stone Edge to knock him out, as his next Pokemon will be a Eternus. I go for Bodos and then Stone Edge to knock him down to low HP, go out to my Zapdos to knock him out with a Drill Peck. Her next Pokemon will be a Magearna, which I decided to go out into my Decidueye. No reason, just get a High Jump Kick off, which is actually pretty free. From there, I go back out into my Zapdos to close combat and knock out the Magearna. Her next Pokemon will be an Ultra Necrozma, which I go out to my Sneasler to sack for some reason, so I guess I'll take that. I go out to my Cobalion to Metal Burst into him and knock out the Ultra Necrozma, which is nice. And her next Pokemon will be a Duraludon, which would knock out my Cobalion, but I do have a Mega Lucario, which High Jump Kick, so it's adaptability. High Jump Kick's kind of scary. I knock out the Duraludon in one shot, and then from there the Roar Moons can knock out my poor Lucario. As I go out to my Zapdos, which will Thunderous Kick and knock him out, so that will take that for sure. From there, we can move out into Cerulean Cave and face off against his trainer. Get ourselves a free Cubfu, which, you know what, took about 6 hours to get. But, you know, eventually we get ourselves a Cubfu and evolve it into the water type Urshifu. I think it's Rapid Strike or Surging Strike. I think it's Surging Strike, something like that. We finally get ourselves the Urshifu we were looking for. And from there, we can move out and face off against our rival. Blue isn't too difficult. And then facing off against Brendan, he's a little more difficult, but you know what, we got the job done. And from there we can move out into Victory Road, clear through Victory Road, and then talk to this NPC. Of course, this NPC will tell us that Lorelei is using her ice team today, so I actually prefer that. We're a fighting type trainer, so you know what, we decided to go back into the power plant and get ourselves the Iron Valiant, which is very important to get because it's one of the pretty good mixed attackers. They have really good stats in both stats. From there, we get ourselves an Iron Valiant and also get a bunch of choice cards from the Genesect raids, which we'll absolutely take. From there, we decided to go back and change up some of our abilities on our Pokemon. We get Sharpness on Cobalion and Keldeo, which, you know, we'll take. It's free extra damage. My team outlook's gonna look like Urshifu, Zapdos, Galarian Zapdos, Keldeo, Cobalion, Iron Valiant, and also Mega Lucario, which is gonna be a solid team, I'm not gonna lie. As solid as you can be, as the Elite Four was actually pretty cheese. So we can start our Elite Four challenge off against Lorelei using my Lucario and also my Urshifu against Lorelei's Ice team. So against her Landers and Glaceon, and I'm like, oh yeah, Surging Strike crits and it hits multiple times, so I can knock out the Landers and also go for a High Jump Kick against the Glaceon, and it worked out pretty well for us as the Glaceon goes down to low HP, but that means I can outspeed Surging Strike into him and then Meteor Mash into the Tapu Fini, which will call mine always, which will take, and then from there my Urshifu can Surging Strike into the Tapu Fini, and also I get a High Jump Kick against the Kyurem White, which, oh my god, this is pretty much cheese. My Urshifu goes down, but if I go out into my Zapdos, which I should have done the risk kick, but anyways, I Drill Peck into the Tapu Fini, and it does a lot of damage, almost knocks him out as I knock out the Kyurem White. It's gonna knock out my Zapdos, but battle's basically over as I go out into my Keldeo. Keldeo is able to go for a Secret Sword into the Tapu Fini, and unfortunately I should have done it in reverse. I should have High Jump Kick into Tapu Fini and then Secret Sword into the Shinpao, but my Lucario is gonna go down to the Shinpao, but I still have my Iron Valiant in the back, which I can Secret Sword and close combat into the Shinpao, knock him out, and then from there I can survive any move from the Mega Abomasnow, and I can knock him out with both my Iron Valiant and Keldeo as we beat down Lorelei pretty easily. From there we can move on and face off against Bruno, and against Urshifu's kind of broken, so I'm Surging Strike and knock out Infernape, the 9 rocks. You know, I don't even need to flinch it anymore. I just killed him instantly. From there, his next opponent will be a Zerora, which I go out into my Iron Valiant, which will Moonblast twice into him, and then it's gonna knock me out with Plasma Fist. It's alright, I go out to my Urshifu with Surging Strike and knock him out. From there, his next opponent will be a Necrozma Dust. I decided to go out into my Zapdos and then got scared, go out to my Cobalion to Metal Burst into him and knock him out. From there, his next opponent will be a Zacian, which I decided to sack my Cobalion, go out into my Keldeo, which was Secret Sword, do some nice chip damage into him as I go out into my Urshifu. Urshifu again, outspeeds, Surging Strikes, basically guaranteed kill. From there, his next opponent will be Lucario. He's going to go for a Swords Dance as I go for a Surging Strike and knock him down to low HP and just let me knock him out for some reason. So we'll take that as the next opponent will be an Iron Valiant. I don't have any more moves, so I decided to struggle into the Iron Valiant. And from there, I knock him down to low HP, go out into my Lucario, which will Bullet Punch and knock out the Iron Valiant. Oh my god, I'm cheesing at this point. I face off against Agatha next. Urshifu once again, Surging Strike crits every single time. 3 hits, knock out the Crocodile. From there, her next opponent will be a Yveltal. I go out to my Mega Lucario, taking Oblivion Wing, high jump kick and crits the Yveltal to knock him out. As her next opponent will be a Calyrex. I decided to stay in, just sack my Lucario, which is a little dumb because it raised the attack stat. But I go out into my Iron Valiant next to a knockoff and do some nice damage against them. Then go out to my Urshifu once again to knock him out. So you can see why I'm using Urshifu. It's pretty broken. So I'm knock out the Calyrex as her next opponent will be a Mega Mewtwo X. I'm actually sack my Urshifu finally, go out to my Zapdos to Drill Peck and knock out the Mewtwo. From there, I do a little stupid thing. I let the Victini get a Z Celebrate off, but I know my Keldeo can outspeed it, and all I gotta do is let my Keldeo land a Hydro Pump, and I can knock out the Victini, which works out pretty well for me. As from there, I knock out the Victini, and her next opponent will be a Flutter Mane, which I can't outspeed. It's gonna knock me out. I go out to my Cobalion, and finally, Cobalion can just Metal Burst again, just knocks out everything. So I'm able to knock out the Flutter Mane and beat down Agatha pretty easily. One of the easier fights against Agatha. From there, we're going to move on and face off against Lance next. Lance, again, this is actually kind of funny. So this is my first attempt against Lance. I Hypnosis. Didn't expect the Arceus switch, so yeah, I can just reset. I'm just going to start the battle off against Lance. So again, Hypnosis into Glimmora. Expect the switch. Go out to my Lucario, Mega Evolve, and then go for Meteor Mash. It doesn't switch out for some reason, so I decided to stay in, Meteor Mash again, get the attack raise. I'm like, oh, this is basically over. He then goes out to his Dragonite, which I should have gone for Meteor Mash once again, but you know what, I wasn't cheesing. I go for Ice Punch, knock him down to low HP, Bullet Punch to knock out your Dragonite, and then from there, he's going to switch out to his Arceus Fairy. I survive a Flamethrower because I know I do. Meteor Mash once again to knock him out. I get another attack raise, and I'm like, this is over. His next opponent will be a Melmetal, which I High Jump Kick. Adaptability plus Steel would knock out 3 Melmetals, as we knock out the Melmetal and also the Primal Dialga in one shot. And his final opponent will be a Mega Ray, which would knock out my Lucario. But you know what, it's fine. I got a Cobalion in the back with Metal Burst and Focus Sash as I knock out the Rayquaza as we end up beating down Lance, and that's so free. Lucario is so broken. That's a prime example why Lucario is broken. From there, we're going to move on and face off against Blue next. Blue's the champion of the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Iron Valiant to Hypnosis into the Kyogre and then Leaf Blade into him. Expecting the switch, I don't know why I went for Moonblast. I was expecting something else. I don't know what I was expecting. But I got the Arceus, Extreme Killer Arceus, kind of scary. I go out to my Zapdos. I forced him to switch out to his Eternatus, which, you know what, it's free. I'm just going to do some chip damage, knock him down to low HP, and then he's going to sack my Zapdos. Go out into my Urshifu to knock him out with Surging Strike. From there, he's going to switch out into his Walking Wake, which I go out to my Keldeo, survive a Hurricane, surprisingly, and then Secret Sword to knock him down to low HP, alongside with Draco Barrage. And from there, I go out to my Urshifu to Close Combat and knock out the Walking Wake. His next opponent after that will be an Ultra Necrozma, which I switch into my Cobalion. It's pretty much free. I know it's getting pretty much set up all the time, so I Metal Burst, knock out the Ultra Necrozma. He then goes out to his Mega Swampert, which I go out into my Urshifu, which was Surging Strike in the rain. Again, does a lot of damage, survive the Earthquake, and then knock him out again. His next opponent after that will be his Extreme Killer Arceus, which I just stayed in. Surging Strike once again, knock him down to low HP, but unfortunately, he's going to Z-move and knock me out as I go out into my Lucario. Lucario is able to just go for an easy Meteor Mash. I don't know why. Could have gone for Bullet Punch, but it works out. I knock out the Arceus, and his final opponent will be a Kyogre. I go for a High Jump Kick and knock him out. Played through the Leaf 4 in like 10-15 minutes, which is surprising. So we end up being down Pokemon Radical Red 4.0 hardcore mode using only Fighting type Pokemon, and honestly, it was kind of difficult. I'm not gonna lie. Chuck specifically, Chuck and Koga were pretty much the hardest fight in the games. Outside of that, I could have probably either reran this and I knew the routes. Obviously, that's like not fair for all the other runs, but pretty easy game. Like, I don't think I struggled that much against anyone. Like, no one was actually that hard, especially after I get my Urshifu. So Think about what would happen if I got my Shifu at the start of the game. Think of how easy it would have been overall. I think it still would have been hard against Koga, because no way I would have survived against the Shiyu. That's the biggest threat on his team. We might have to run it back one day. But anyways, that will be it for me today. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, my name is Alpha, and I hope you guys all had a great day, and I'm out. Peace.